What does it take to be a father? Well, for starters, I believe that when it comes to fatherhood, it's earned, not given. I remember back in the 90s, there used to be this commercial that used to say, anybody could be a father, but it takes a man to raise one. Never understood that until I got a little older and began to connect dots and pay attention to detail. So here goes my attempt to try to explain what it takes to be a father. What does it take to be a father? Well, for starters, you have to have a direction of where you're going. Next, I believe you're supposed to know deep inside that you want to create a little copy of yourself and someone who you think at the moment is going to be the best version of yourself. So then you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, put it all together, and when you see that little person take a breath and you hear that cry for the first time, that's when you realize you got your work cut out for you. Not too many people say this, but let me be the first to be the only individual in your life to tell you, when they're babies, 0 to 5, that would be the most easiest portion of being a father. Because the baby came into your life, it doesn't mean that the title was given. You still have to put in work to earn it. You have to protect, you have to provide. Above all else, you have to love. When situations happen, as the child is, we're going to say elementary, instead of getting the child in trouble for everything they're doing wrong, why don't you sit back and remember the basics? The basics on why you created that little person in the first place. Now, truth be told, somewhere in there, we get carried away and we make extra copies of ourselves. And yet the template seems to start to fade away, when in reality we should have continued to keep that thought process in our brain, saying why it is we decided to try to go towards earning the title father. What does it take to be a father? Well, it takes a lot of grit to be able to withstand the pain that's going to come your way. Now, I'm not talking about physical pain. Physical pain, you can probably take some medication and help you cope with it and you'll get over it. I'm talking about the emotional pain. I'm talking about the mental pain. I'm talking about the pain that you can't seem to touch, but for some reason it hurts your soul, not just your heart. What does it take to be a father? You got to learn to be a leader and at the same time recall what it takes to be a follower. You got to always listen to understand and not to argue. What does it take to be a father? You're going to have to deal with them failing constantly when they're finally of age. And when they disrespect you in every which way possible, you have to learn to be patient and accept defeat. What does it take to be a father? You have to learn how to breathe it in and breathe it out, one day at a time. Don't rush it. It's all in the process. What does it take to be a father? It's having to continue every day with the same pain, stacked up, having to learn to swallow your pride and don't damage such a beautiful castle that you built on the beachfront. You use sand to build that castle, to protect what is most precious to you in this life. What does it take to be a father? Getting familiar with your brand new friends called loneliness, guilt, suffering. What does it take to be a father? It's knowing that your offspring, when they fail, is going to be a constant reminder of how you fail. And no matter how hard you try to correct it, you have to remember that that little person that you created, that is now an adult, is going to make decisions for themselves. What does it take to be a father? We should just leave it at pause. Silence. Because we don't know what it takes to be a father.